Thank you, everyone, for being here today. I stand with other members of the House Democratic Caucus and also members of our community. We are talking today about Senate Bill 77. Senate Bill 77 was presented to the House Governmental Affairs Committee and the Local Government Subcommittee as legislation that would institute significant fines for anyone caught vandalizing or damaging a monument, whether it commemorates a war, civil rights, or any other event or person of cultural significance in the state. This bill would prohibit local governments from removing or relocating monuments to less prominent locations or at all. National, state, and local civil rights organizations calls this bill a stunt bill aimed at devaluing HB 426, Georgia's first hate crime bill, which passed crossover day last week. These Confederate monuments honor one of the most negative portion of the United States history, disrespecting the African American community that makes up the growing 30% of this state's population. Some of these individuals that are being memorialized are people that played a part in the worst era of oppression and thus are not entitled to the admiration of any kind. African Americans and others around the state deserve to be free of constant reminders of their ancestors' suffering and deserve to be free from seeing these monuments every day in their communities. But let's talk about another point: local control. This bill is redundant, and the General Assembly should not create or pass any bill designed to remove local control and authority. This is not the first time that we've seen a bill of this statute in recent years. But every time that a bill like this has been brought up, it has always failed and gone nowhere in the House and in the Senate. So why today? Why now, Georgia? Will we say to the local governments that you don't have your own control of what you are putting forth in your communities? We stand here with a local city council member. We deserve to give local control over what is in and outside of their cities. And we stand here to say today that we are not for hate in Georgia. Do we have any questions?
I have a question. Mm-hmm. As I read through the bill, it sounds like the main change to current law would be that it adds a penalty, basically, that anybody caught, vandalizing a Confederate monument or any other monument would have to pay for the damages. It also adds other monuments, including civil rights monuments. I'm curious to hear your take on that.
So we're going to have Representative Renita Shannon answer that question.
Good morning, everybody. I'm State Representative Renita Shannon, House District 84. This bill came through my committee. So to answer your question, the bill does much more than that. The bill basically says that cities and localities would not be able to take down Confederate statues. The only caveat, any statue. And that's a false thing that we've seen with this bill, is that the sponsor of the bill is saying this is meant to protect all statues and monuments. That's not true. We know that this bill is a response to the ever-growing sentiment across the country where communities are saying we do not want these symbols of hate in our communities. So this bill is an example of a lost cause where the majority of folks know that these statues stand for oppression and they don't want them in their communities. So this bill does a couple things. It says that localities and cities are not able to take down these statues. The only way that they can, the couple caveats are for construction, So basically, if you need to expand the area where the statue is located, you can move the statue, but the language is very strong. It also says that if you do move it for construction purposes, you have to move it in that temporary location to a location that is just as prominent as the original location and edifies the statue in the same way, which I said in committee, I don't think that this is something that cities and counties can even comply with. If you think about it, most of these statues are in front of courthouses. Some of them are right here around the Capitol. Where, and I'll ask you all, where would you, if we wanted to expand the Capitol, let's take the Capitol for example, where would you move these statues that would be just as prominent as the Gold Dome? Nowhere in Georgia. There is nowhere in Georgia that everybody recognizes like they recognize the Capitol. So I think that this bill is going to get cities and counties in a lot of trouble and leave them open to lawsuits because they cannot comply the way that the bill is written. The other thing is that you mentioned the penalties are about 3 times as much if you deface or wreck a monument. So it's meant to really bring a lot of financial problems for anybody who would try to vandalize one of these monuments. And that's also how you know that this is about Confederate monuments. The sponsor of the bill said a lot of false things in presenting the bill. One of them was that this protects all statues. Well, we only see one type of statue being vandalized. So that's how you know that this is about Confederate statues. One other point I'd like to mention that was also said was that the bill sponsor said in committee, well, we need to protect all statues because 100 years ago when these statues were put up, people didn't have a problem with it. And 100 years from now, some things may be unpopular that are popular today. And, my response to that is, sir, that's untrue. I don't know how many constituents of color you have in your district, but our communities have long had an issue with these statues. They had an issue when they went up, and they have had an issue ever since they went up. So, any more questions?
We see a lot of cities kind of dealing with this and electing to add context to them with a plaque or something. Do you support that, or do you just want them removed altogether?
Sure. And I want to add to that as well. When you talk about the civil rights, when she said 100 years ago, what civil rights monuments were standing in Georgia? I would love to hear that. And the other thing that we have to make sure that we're holding accountable is the people that are saying these things. He said, the person that presented this bill said that they wanted to protect the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I don't think that we stand together in that as a chamber or as a House of Assembly saying that we want to protect the bad and the ugly. I don't think that's who we're here to protect. Can you repeat your question, please?
Yes, as far as cities grappling with this and electing to add context, do you support that route, or do you just want these monuments removed altogether?
Well, I think the route that we can collaboratively support as a caucus is letting the locals have control. I think that it should be up to them at the end of the day we are here as a representative of the people. We should not be we should be representing the people. We should not say that we are better than the people or over the people. We should let them be able to speak for themselves. And that is what local control would be able to do.
Is there a city council member here?
We do. We do.
Yeah, can we ask?
Yeah. Would you mind taking a question? Okay. She doesn't have any thing to say. She is just standing in support with us today.
Which city council? Lithonia.
She represents Lithonia. All right. If there are not any more questions, we are going to get to the House floor. We thank everyone for being here today. And we hope that if you, one thing that you got from this press conference is that we stand united in saying that we want to make sure that we give our local control to the people that want to be able to either take these monuments down, move these monuments, whatever they would like to do. We do not stand above local control, and we do hope that this does not pass out of the House. Thank you.